What's the most money you've made with your business?
Done 50 million in a year.
How would you spend $5 now if you wanted to start a fashion brand? What's the biggest opportunity in fashion for 2025? Yes, guys, so today we're with Ross, the founder of the £30 million Couture Club. And today he's going to reveal how he built his business, how he secured deals with huge brands like Selfridges, and how you can do it too. So stay tuned, it's going to be a banger. What's going on?
Mate, pleasure to meet you, man. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us, man. So this is it.
This is the warehouse, and then we've got the showroom in the office over here.
Yeah. So you've built the business to where it is now, £30 million. Obviously, you're going to tell us how you did it, but before we get into that, what's your background?
Well, we launched the brand in 2015, purely out of the fact that back then the market was nowhere near as competitive as it is now. You literally had luxury, and it was almost like high street. Nowhere near as many independent brands, and there wasn't that great quality out there. Literally had £5 savings. My mum lent me a bit of money as well, and we started by just making one T-shirt, and it was just a T-shirt that I wanted to wear. Started from there, and over the years, we've added products in, built the brand, and it's been, a roller coaster ride, but yeah, it's amazing to be still going into our 10th year.
That's incredible, man. So you got the £5. What skill set did you have before that? What's your background? Did you study? Did you study fashion?
None. So I worked in nightlife, and before that I used to, race go-karts professionally and then racing cars. So no fashion experience at all, other than that I just love clothes. Like for qualifications, I struggled when I was at school. I was great at art, great at design technology, great at sport, but anything really academic, it's not my forte. So
then what do you think it was that translated it into fashion? I
think we had a great network. Just from the nightlife, a lot of our friends, a lot of our contacts were either on TV themselves, football. We had a lot of good contacts like that. So getting the brand out there at the start wasn't really the issue. That was where we probably had the most success compared to a lot of the brands starting out. But I think a lot of it was consistency and constantly getting better, and I think that's what's important. I see a lot of people that start brands now and they have a lot of funding and they launch it on a huge scale, and it's quite high risk, and it's a competitive market, whereas we really, each launch got a little bit bigger, more products, and we kind of built it that way.
Okay, man. It'd be good to go and take a look inside.
Yeah.
Should we go?
Yeah, let's go in.
I know outside we spoke about the beginning. So you got the £5. How did you allocate it? Where did that go?
Oh, we didn't think about stuff like that at the time. We literally, myself and Scott, he supported me on everything from a business side of things, and he knew a guy that was a website developer.
Yeah.
He built our website for us and was kind of in the office quite a lot because he was doing some fun Scott's other business. And so the website we didn't really have to pay for, which would have been a huge cost. It was kind of intertwined in it. The money that we had went on products. Okay. Obviously, if you were to ask me, is that the best way to do it? No, not at all. Like, obviously, marketing was very different back then. Yeah. But we didn't even do any sort of paid ads or anything for the first 2 or 3 years.
Oh, right.
It was purely just like, I'd ask all my friends to retweet, oh, we're launching this, can you retweet it? And everyone would just retweet it, and then we'd share stuff on Instagram. It was such a simple and probably a lot less stressful world back then.
In the first 2 years, without the marketing, how much were you doing in sales?
We did in the first year $500,000 in revenue.
With no marketing? That's crazy.
Yeah, the marketing was us. Do
you remember when you sold to your first customer?
Yeah, on the launch night, we sold straight away.
Yeah.
I think it was one of them because I was fortunate, I being on reality TV.
Yeah.
I knew exactly kind of what I was doing when I went on reality TV. For me, it wasn't purely to go and be famous and do club appearances and, the usual scenario that everyone wants to go on TV for. It was because this gives me a platform.
So you had a strategy behind it?
Yeah. I just knew using that platform that I could make whatever business I was going to do successful.
Something will come from it.
We sold stuff right from the first day. I don't think it was a lot. I think it might have been like £500 worth, but that is a lot, really. Like when you think about you starting from nothing.
Yeah. How old are you at this time?
I'm 35 now, going into our 10th year. What's that, maybe 26, 27?
Okay, yeah. So you must have had like the fundamentals. Okay, I need a product. I need a way to distribute the product.
Yeah, well, we just shipped it all ourselves, so we did everything. So behind the scenes, it was myself and Scott. Would be customer service. I'd be the model. A freelance photographer at the time. I'd take like phone content of the stuff as well. We'd do all the social media. We'd do all the emails, the product uploads. We'd do all that kind of stuff.
Wearing all the hats, basically.
That was one of the most fun times because every single day was a laugh. You go into work like, what are we doing today? We need more sales, right? Let's do a tweet. Let's do an email. It was like we'd do it that day.
Yeah.
We just decide on the day. Whereas it was a lot less, structured, a lot less planned, but also a lot less pressure. Like it was fun.
So then your second year in now, you've done your sales. Is it at this point where you're like, okay, we need to have a marketing strategy?
I'll be totally honest, we were still very ad hoc. We were just like going with the flow with it. One thing that we were struggling with is we didn't have terms with our factories. So we used to have to pay everything on pro forma. So it meant we were paying before we even got the stock. So that was why we always had that issue where we were like out of stock for a bit. Came around this time, I think it was the second year or going into the third year, we got approached by an agency called 2 Squared. We didn't really know what the brand was at this point. It was just to start a business, two lads having fun with it, going to work every day and just trying to make the best they possibly can. They approached it, they could see that we were making traction, and they were an agency that, licensed brand, owned brands, did wholesale for brands, did all sorts. So they had a full facility of everything. They approached us and offered to take 40% of the company, and with that I'd have access to their designers, their factories, they'd do the warehousing and that side of the business for us. And I think it was like they'd do all that for free for 12 months and then we'd start paying for it after that. In that period, that was probably where I went back on TV. Scott was in their office. We went in the office, we never signed anything, but we did the deal and it was kind of like we were in there. So they were handling the warehousing. So all we were left to do then is to market the brand properly, come up with the products and go with it. While I was on TV, I was offline for 8 weeks straight because we were filming. By the time I got back out, Scott was like, oh mate, I've placed 100 grand worth of stock with different factories because we got terms now because we were working through another company. So I was like, oh my God. Anyway, I came back off. TV went well, so that kind of like, my profile went up quite a lot as well. Scott had ordered this stock and we brought out like these toweling twin sets, super oversized, like baggy shorts, oversized top. And it was at the time like my show was on air, the stock that Scott had ordered came in and it just blew up. That was probably the moment when I think back to when the brand really changed. Like, I talked about in our first year and we did a £500 launch night. This was, I think we jumped to like 30 grand on launch night. And we were tiny still at this stage. Fortunate from my side, we had a lot of eyes and traffic from my social media presence and being live on TV at the time and all your friends on TV, so they're wearing it as well. And we actually had the stock behind it, so we could actually grow. And that was really when it kicked on. I think that was 2017, 2018. Right, we have a business now. We were like, we need our own team. If we were going to grow this business, we need our own team that are working for us and invested in us 24/7.
How would you spend £5 now if you wanted to start a fashion brand?
But I think I'll probably split it out with Shopify website, you can do yourself. I think it costs you next to nothing to start that up. I would really have to look at what cheap blanks are available that I could get super minimums on. Like I'm talking max 10. And I'd probably try and get a few variations. I'll probably work on content and not spending much on it, but I mean just being busy doing loads of content about the product that I was creating. I think them 3 things are the main focus. We're in a world now where you can sell out a product and you can collect back in stock notifications for it. Having too little stock to start off with is not the end of the world. You could almost like sell it out, collect the back in stocks. So I think I'd try and buy a very minimal amount of products. I wouldn't risk it all. I'd be going to the post office like I was when I started. You look at the warehouse over there, you don't have to have a setup of a logistics company or anything like that, you just do it yourself. I'd probably spend the most on, and I think you'd have to spend the most now, on breaking through the noise. The market itself, and getting the brand to a position where people are seeing it. You're out on the street just getting every single person trying your t-shirt. I'd spend probably more time thinking than spending. As much content as we possibly can, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff that's using time rather than finances. And I think that's probably your only option. It'd have to be split. And I think stock are probably one of the smallest ones. I think I'd probably launch the website without even buying any stock yet. I would have the samples, but kind of hype up the launch, build up the hype that way. And from that, I'd probably try and collect data to understand how big the launch is going to be, which is going to dictate how much stock I buy to start off with.
Is there any product that you would start off with?
I think it's got to be what you're interested in. I think it'd be different for every single person. Obviously, we started with a t-shirt. One of the reasons for that was obviously we launched in May, coming in spring, summertime. You wear t-shirts a lot more. Lower price point, depending on obviously how many you're buying and things like that, it should be a reasonably good margin. I'd probably try and minimise the amount of things that make the product complicated.
Okay.
And I'll make it as wearable as possible, but obviously as unique as it can be in your own style. But I do think the main focus will be driving as much traction to the page before even paying for the stock.
Yeah, I love that. We head over to the warehouse.
Come on, let's go.
So what would you say is the secret to finding a good supplier?
You've got places like Alibaba. You can go on there, you can type in products that are similar to the product you want to create, come up with obviously a list of factories, and it'll say what quantities they do. That's an option. Or again, if you're starting out and you have got a bit of spare money, there's agents that can source product for you. So I'll probably look for, agents that can source factories and introduce you that way. Again, the other option is this day and age, there's loads of companies that offer like amazing blank. You find a blank that represents your brand and is good quality, what you want your brand to be, and start that way, which, you can buy 1 to 10, I'm sure, of some of the blank companies. But again, that is one of the challenges. And as you get on, I think building a good relationship is obviously constant communication with them, transparency from both parties, and having a good working relationship, treating them how you'd like to be treated and vice versa, and just working it in more of a partnership rather than they're your manufacturer and you're a brand. It's like we're a team.
And then for someone who's really new to it, where would they go to find an agent or to find someone that makes blanks?
I would search high quality blanks or whatever the GSM they're after, whether it's 300 GSM blank t-shirts. Agents, on the other hand, might be slightly harder. I'd look on LinkedIn. It might be a fashion supplier, agent. I'd just look through everything. I'd search as many terms as I could and dissect from there, speak to as many people as possible. Tell them about what you want to do, why you want to do it. Be transparent about you're just starting out. This is where we see the brand, but this is what I want it to be.
Okay, so this is where the magic happens.
It is indeed, mate.
Covering what we were talking about earlier, you've done the sales, you've done the distribution, you started hiring people.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the main overheads then at this stage in your business?
2 main overheads are staff. Obviously. Depends if you ask on marketing. It's obviously very flexible marketing because you can turn it on or off if you need to. And premises costs. We run very differently to a lot of people. They use a 3PL and their warehousing is classed as like a separate kind of. Ours is all part of the central cost and the staff are all part of the staff cost. Yeah. So for us, obviously, the staff cost is the highest, and you've got your premises and your marketing costs. Really, they're your main things.
Obviously, you mentioned that Black Friday was a huge busy period for you. How many orders were shipped out?
From when we went live to the end of our Black Friday campaign, I think just short of 25,000 orders. And the team obviously worked super hard. They're in all weekend, and it was just crazy. What we do as well on Black Friday is everyone from the office has like a 1-day shift in the warehouse as well. It's just for them to understand how hard it is in here, how important it is as well. Get stuck in and just get involved. And I think it's just really good for the office team to understand and appreciate how hard the warehouse work over here, picking and packing flat out.
But you're in there as well then, on the Black Friday?
Yeah. You see it on our YouTube. We did a Black Friday video, to be fair.
You mentioned obviously still in a community, for example, launching your own store. What percentage of sales come from online and then in store?
The time just before we closed the store, 20% of our sales came from the store, 80% came online.
So thanks for sharing that. I think it'd be a good time to head over to Selfridges now and see what we've got.
Amazing, let's do it.
Yeah? So talk to us about how Selfridges came about.
It couldn't have been more amazing, the timing really. We'd been in the Trafford Centre for 6 years. Mm-hmm. The brand had performed amazing in our own store there, and we loved it. And we were actually about to do a big full refurb in the store. We'd done the concept and everything like that, which is kind of what you'll see in Selfridges now. Yeah. There was a new landlord at the Trafford Centre, and they signed a deal with New Balance for 10 years. We've got to be out within 30 days. We were devastated when it happened. Yeah. So we had a temporary shop for a little bit, which we really weren't happy with. And then Selfridges got in touch with us, wanted to kind of move forward pretty quickly on stocking the brand. It was almost like as one door closed, another door opened. When they approached us, we literally had a meeting with them that week. They looked through the collection, we spoke about it. They kind of set dates on when they wanted to go live with it. They actually gave us the opportunity to do our own build because we obviously loved having our own store. We had the opportunity to kind of create our own space. We were like, if we're going to go in Selfridges, rather than going and just be on rails like every other brand, let's make an in-store concept that almost feels like you're going into our own store. Yeah. Now got them spaces in women's wear in Trafford Centre, which I'll take you to now, men's wear in Trafford Centre, Birmingham, and we're stocked obviously in the city centre in Oxford Street now.
You said that 80% of your revenue was coming from online and then 20% was from store, right? When you had the store.
Yeah.
Right? What was behind the decision to have a store?
We actually opened our store because we were looking at doing a billboard campaign over the whole of the UK at the time. This was 2018. And no one really had their own stores then, not small brands. No one was doing pop-ups then, but we were like, why don't we open a store, see what deal we can get on like a 3-month rental on a pop-up basis, because there was a few empty units, and almost be able to have a high street billboard that we can sell from and like do activations from there. They were interested in it because they had a unit that was spare, and we kind of got the deal done. Originally it was only meant to be for 3 months and then we were going to close it. All that traffic got back online. It was kind of like a brand awareness piece. But the Manchester one performed so well that it just became like our second home. Like myself and Scott, we worked in there from when we opened it. We did like every single night after being in the office, we went and worked there. Every weekends we'd be in there. We'd just help out behind the tills, just meeting all the customers, chatting to the customers and kind of understanding how different a store shopper might be to online, getting to chat to them, how they found out about the brand, just really trying to engage with people really and understand like how they figured us out and what they like about us, what they don't like. It was brilliant to be able to put faces, behind it and ask questions, and you will reach it.
Here we are outside Selfridges. So what's the relationship like with Selfridges? How does it work if someone wanted to?
So if you say you're starting out, obviously the initial relationship started with the Selfridges team. And then you move on to the buying team, where they're the ones that it's been decided that you're going to be in their stores. They just need to decide what product's going to go in their stores.
Got you.
So you'd show your collection, whether big or small. Obviously look at all the product that you've shown them, understanding when they can get it delivered and that kind of thing. Place the buys for which products they like and think would suit best and sell best in their stores. They'd then place an order with yourselves, which would be however many units and sizes of each one. You'd arrange delivery and then it would launch. That's probably a dumbed down simple version of it, but that's pretty much how it works.
So if someone wanted to get in there right now, what would you say they need to focus on with their brand? Because they already pre-selected you. What do you think the reason were?
As a brand, I'd be kind of focused around making as much noise as I can on social media. For me, the main thing is, and this is what I say to all our team all the time, is just keep focusing on our brand and what we're doing and growing everything internally so the online grows and wholesale opportunities will come along, because at the end of the day, if you're performing, people want your product, then they want to make their part of it, and they know they've got a great customer base as well that would want the products and might not have seen it before. So, some brands work where they hire an agent that takes a percentage and they go out and sell the product to all these stores. That's another opportunity for other people.
Yeah, kind of seems like the best strategy is to make sure your marketing strategy is right, get your brand making noise. And
again, if your brand's making noise and doing all this, you'll have a successful business from your own online anyway. And then your wholesale will become a bonus to that. So, like you call it wholesale, I call it strategic retail partners.
So how does it work then with all of this? What have we got in front of us?
So this is one of the concepts. Obviously you'll see the women's concept upstairs, which we're allowed to do our full concept here. Here we had to work with a space where it's got Selfridges fixture and fittings, and we can modify it in a way that makes it into your own brand. So that was what we did here. So the bits we were allowed to modify, we did to create a space that's in keeping. There's a few bits still to do. I think we've got a small tree that's going in there.
You got a bestseller here?
Well, as you can see, the brown fluffy knit has no top. But I know that's the bestseller here anyway, but it looks like it's sold out.
In terms of the numbers that you need to be generating, do they really...
They've never looked at, I think they probably understand from the amount of people they see wearing your brand, where you might be at. But from a number perspective, there's some brands in here, I think in the Oxford Street store, they'll have some real small niche brands.
How do you go about negotiating the space as well that you occupy?
So that was one that we were very lucky with. I think, typically if you were to go into a store like Selfridges, they'd buy the product and you'd be put on a rail and you just have the topper on, just saying the Couture Club. Whereas we were very fortunate in the initial chats that they knew that we'd just shut the store. They knew that we'd done massive revenue in a Trafford Centre because they used to see everyone coming in here with the bags. So they gave us the opportunity to create our own spaces. But that allowed us to almost create like a shop in shop in the Selfridges store itself. So they've looked through our buys and the products that we were bringing out, and they've obviously bought their selection of it.
Yeah.
Certain things have sold out, like our brown fluffy knit that I mentioned before was one of our best sellers. So they've got a range of our smart tracksuit here, and they've got our London Classics range here with a t-shirt, our essential cargo pants. Still got a bit of spring summer left, which it's not in sale, so it's all right, so it must be selling fine. Again, a smart tracksuit, core t-shirts, pleated wool pants, one of our core best-selling emblem tracksuits.
Nice.
Same again, great coat, probably sell out this afternoon. Again, more of our London Classics, denim carpenter jeans, pleated pants again, more London Classics, emblem bomber jacket. There's a variety, so that's again how it's different from an online business where we have all our stock. Everything that they have here is like when they've seen collections and they've decided to pick certain things from a collection to make their collection of Couture Club. I'm working.
Sorry.
It's all right.
How do you stay on top of fashion trends?
Right now we're about 12 months ahead, so we're designing next year. I've looked for a few different things, and probably a lot of it's on court, and we'll be looking through, runway shows where we feel things are moving. I do a lot of looking almost back in time. I know it sounds mad, but I feel like we're still in the 90s at the moment, and we're in like a period where everything's kind of happening again that you saw back in the 90s, if you look at the style of clothing and what's going on. So I look back at times as well of how that moved. The team do a lot of research just on different things and how they want to move on some of our best-selling products. And then when it comes to new innovation and things like that, we'll go on a lot of trips. So I used to go to South Korea a lot, go to America, just kind of look at different cultures and understand like what we feel suits our brand and kind of develop products from there.
What is the future for the Couture Club?
I think we've done a lot of work internally. I think for us, we're simplising the business a lot, rather than making everything so complicated, trying to make it as streamlined as possible. Expanding the UK, Netherlands, which is our second territory, has been growing rapidly for us. Focused on that, and I think they're the two main focuses. Growing the UK, developing more into some of our products, expanding ranges that are performing really well for us already, building the community a lot more. That was one of our main focuses last year. We did a lot of different activations and events around the community, and I think just working from that and expanding that a lot more as well, engaging ourselves with the customer a lot more.
Yeah. What's the biggest opportunity in fashion for 2025?
It's a tough question. I think there's no doubts that the athleisure market's just phenomenal at the moment, and I can't see that going anywhere at all. I think that's a huge opportunity for anyone starting a business. Obviously it's different to what we do, but I think as place in the market where there's a big opportunity, I see it's probably where we sit now, where you're almost in the middle market, where you're offering good quality at attainable prices, because fast fashion's kind of falling off a cliff a little bit, and I think the luxury market's struggling just because the price points are just through the roof now, and the quality's not that far different from what the premium brands like ourselves are. So I think if you're looking to start anything, an athleisure brand in the premium price point market, good quality, that's where it should be.
Wicked, man. Appreciate your time, Ross.
Thank you, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Where can people find you?
On Instagram at Ross Worswick, and the brand at the Couture Club, and on YouTube just at the Couture Club.
Guys, go follow Ross, follow the Couture Club's journey, and we'll see you in the next one.